I guess you probably worked out that part of my life has been spent in the beautiful country of Australia. Some people accuse me of being half Australian. But it's so wonderful to be part of government to welcome the delegation from Australia here to our shores. I hope you will be adequately entertained or informed by the speech I will make tonight. To the Acting High Commissioner of Australia, Australian High Commissioner to Fiji, Ms. Claire McNamara, the President of the FIJI-AUSTRALIA Business Council, Ms. Vera Shute, normally call her boss, Australia-FIJI Business Council President, Ms. Alison Howarth-West, the captains of industry that are numerous that are present here today, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. As they say in Australia, g'day, mbulavinaka, and a very good evening to you all. It is with great pleasure that I address you this evening to officially welcome you to the FIJI-Australia Joint Business Forum. For all of you who have traveled from overseas, whether you are a frequent flyer or a frequent visitor, or perhaps here for the very first time, shame on you. On behalf of the government of Fiji, may I welcome you all to our beautiful country and say that Fiji warmly embraces you and hope that your stay is informative and enjoyable. This gathering of over 200 delegates, I am told, is a sellout crowd. Round of applause, please. Not only underscoring the deep and enduring ties that our nations both share together, but also provides us with a unique opportunity to address new challenges that we face together. More importantly, we are here to foster new and strengthen existing partnerships that are mutually beneficial for both Fiji and Australia. Since the election, the People's Coalition government, which came into place almost 2 years ago, has experienced dramatic change. It is fair to say that the People's Coalition government has returned Fiji to true democracy, which has created a level of optimism which we have not seen in the country for some time. The press can now freely report, and the people can freely express their views without fear of recrimination. Recent developments such as the constitutional review, which is currently under consideration, and the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission augur well for Fiji. Given Fiji's past, it is my view that we cannot develop a future without understanding and learning from our past. It is certainly my hope that the lessons of the past will not be forgotten. We can ensure that we do not repeat the same mistakes of history. This is the only way we can build stability, genuine democracy, and peace in Fiji. Allow me to share with you the economic outlook on Fiji. Overall, the economic outlook for Fiji remains positive, with the Reserve Bank forecasting a growth of around 2.8%, slightly below traditional growth averages over the last 10 years. However, according to another bank, Fiji's domestic economy remains robust despite recent challenges. They forecast a growth of around 3.4% this year, with expectations for the economy to maintain a steady growth of around 3% next year. Investment Fiji reports that the total investments in Fiji are valued at around about 6.1 billion, a strong indicator of the vibrant economic activity and its potential in Fiji. Of this, I personally expect that about $1 to $2 billion of this pipeline to come on stream in the next 6 to 12 months. Should this occur, it positions Fiji well in terms of economic momentum. This data affirms the resilience of our economy, driven by good strategic decision-making and strategic investments, political stability, and of course, the dedication of our workforce. As we continue to navigate the global uncertainties, this growth underscores the confidence that investors have in the long-term potential of Fiji and the collective efforts to sustain our development trajectory. Allow me to share some thoughts with you, or some priorities of the ministry with you, and to allow you to fully appreciate, or perhaps in some way appreciate, the journey that Fiji is embarking on. In essence, the ministry that I head focuses on 5 key strategic areas: economic diversification, support for MSMEs and cooperatives, the ease of doing business, the digitization of the Fijian economy, and of course, raising standards and legislation, some of which are antiquated. In terms of economic diversification, I just thought I'd touch briefly on trade. Our commitment to enhancing trade relations has been positive and is poised to generate positive results. One of the most important and groundbreaking engagements is the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, or IPEF. Fiji is the only Pacific country that is part of this agreement, which makes up 40% of the world's GDP and about 40% of the world's population, and 1/3 of all trade. Historically, Fiji has never been part of such a powerful grouping, and we expect IPEF to open doors, or economic and investment doors, for Fiji. On top of that, we just recently signed the Interim Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. That allows us to take advantage of things such as global sourcing, which will mean that companies such as PAFCO, which is probably only 60% utilized in terms of capacity, can actually export more to the European Union, which is quite exciting. At a multilateral level, Fiji is not a passive player. We are leading the charge in terms of disciplining harmful subsidies that are depleting our oceans. We understand that it's about $20 billion of subsidies a year. But in doing so, we are ensuring that the Pacific takes ownership of its oceans, which hold 60% of its global tuna stocks, of the global tuna stocks. These agreements have opened up new avenues for Fijian business and reinforced our position as a serious competitive player in the global marketplace. Our trade policies continue to evolve, ensuring that businesses have the support and infrastructure to thrive. The entry of Google to Fiji has and will expand the opportunities in our ICT industry. From one subsea cable to Australia, Google will open up Fiji as a genuine tech hub in the years to come, with connections to the West Coast in Los Angeles, Australia, South America, and Southeast Asia. It is our hope that this will create opportunities for data centers and really boost ICT business in Fiji. In terms of commercial agriculture, with the relevant government agencies and private sectors, you would have heard of the government creating a commercial agriculture task force. Fiji Water is now exploring opportunities to do commercial agriculture in Fiji. Another investor that shall remain nameless for now is also a large investor, is also looking at commercial agriculture, as well as an Israeli company from PNG. Should these things happen, it will transform agriculture in the Fijian economy. We have in the recent past been merely a subsistence economy when it comes to non-sugar agriculture. And I feel that if we keep on this path and be disciplined, we will be able to unlock the potential in the commercial agricultural sector. One of the things we can all agree on is that Fiji has some of the most exceptional tasting fruits in the world, whether it be pineapple, pawpaw, watermelon, mangoes, just to name a few. There is an opportunity to develop this for domestic consumption to supply our hotels, but more importantly, to export it to the rest of the world. Wouldn't that be a wonderful gift from Fiji, apart from Fiji water? In terms of kava, I have said on many times and on many occasions that kava has the potential to be a billion-dollar industry. It is one of, if not the most culturally significant and economically promising products in Fiji and the Pacific. Kava is gaining recognition worldwide for its calming properties, aligning perfectly to the growing global trend towards natural health and wellness products. In terms of commercial aquaculture, the country is looking at some early discussions on tiger prawn export, oysters, and fish farming possibilities. Stay tuned. In terms of other industries, there is continued focus on the renewable energy transition, affordable housing, and the BPO sector, which will provide added momentum to the economy. In terms of the MSME space and cooperatives, we believe that these are the backbones of the Fijian economy and provide great linkages actually in terms of our commercial agriculture aspirations and endeavors. Over the past year, we have introduced various support measures, including financial assistance, capacity building programs, and streamlining regulatory processes. Our MSME development initiatives have empowered entrepreneurs, spurred innovation, and created jobs, contributing significantly to our economic growth. The success stories emerging from this sector are a testament to the resilience and creativity of Fijian entrepreneurs. I'll just share with you two, just to give you some examples. There is a husband and wife team that have actually, through blockchain technology, started developing performance measurement databases from Fiji. Their first customer wasn't a Fijian customer, it was the government of the Seychelles. And they are now starting to be used by the Ministry of Agriculture, and I suspect that most of us will jump on board. The second was a lady who we know well in Nandi, who's developing Nama as a skincare product. It's called Nama Fiji. Google it if you haven't heard of it. She reckons that it'll be bigger than Fiji water. I happen to agree with her. And if that happens, again, would that be a wonderful example of the type of entrepreneurship and imagination that our people have. We are currently developing a strategy for MSMEs in an endeavor to develop a comprehensive ecosystem that will allow us to develop and continue to grow the MSME sector. The MSME market is estimated to be 18% of GDP, and we hope to grow the MSME sector to at least 30% by 2034. The cooperative movement is vital as well in terms of empowering local communities. As part of the MSME ecosystem, the cooperative movement actually fits well into Fiji's community fabric, overlaying traditional and cultural values with a commercial pursuit in all communities. In fact, the cooperative model, in my view, if deployed well, is a means of creating pathways out of poverty for the rural community. An example of the effective deployment of cooperatives has been the adoption of some landing owning units and some cane farmer groups of joint ventures with the Fiji Sugar Corporation, just as an example, and that is going well. In terms of ease of doing business, the ministry has been focused on driving efficiencies through business process re-engineering and automation through the Business Fiji Now project. There is an expectation that in the next 2 weeks, we will launch the first starting a business platform, which will digitally streamline the process it takes to start a business. This is expected to reduce the time it takes to start a business from something between 3 months to 6 months down to about 14 days. Next is the business, project that will look at construction permit approval. For those in Fiji that are familiar with construction permit approvals, it takes years to get the permit approvals done. And we hope to bring it down to about 6 months. The key thing to note about the construction permit approvals is that the applicant will only need to enter their data once, and the information gets shared amongst each agency involved in the process, thereby allowing the agencies to simultaneously work on the approval. Should this be achieved, it will drastically reduce construction permit approvals and, of course, speed up investment, and for bankers, speed up the drawdown on pipelines. In terms of digitization, the Fiji government truly believes that to achieve transparency and accountability and productivity in the government, digitization is one of the things that we need to pursue, or the pursuit of e-government. At present, the government is developing a national digital strategy to facilitate the vision of the government of Fiji. Our partnership with Google, the entry of Starlink, positions Fiji well in terms of digitization and harvesting opportunities. As we reflect on these positive developments over the 19 months, we still recognize there is a lot to do. And hopefully with all of you in the room today, we can move a lot of these things forward. With the support of stakeholders such as the FIJI-AUSTRALIA and Australia-FIJI business councils, together with the collective efforts of our government, private sector, and communities, we can grow and continue to grow and offer new solutions to the economy of Fiji. We see Australia as a key partner in this regard, and the strong ties that our two countries share pave the way for even greater levels of enhanced cooperation. Of course, Fiji and Australia are more than just neighbors. We are family. We are Vuvale. And since I met some of you in Sydney last year, we have already seen significant developments in our bilateral relationship. The renewed version and revitalized version of the Vuvale Partnership, signed by the Honourable Prime Minister during his visit to Australia in October 2023, now elevates our shared commitment to tackling climate change, cybersecurity, improving human development, such as indigenous skills and culture. It also focuses on strengthening economic and trade partnerships, fostering closer business-to-business ties, people-to-people ties, to promote growth and innovation. In terms of PESA Plus, it is through the lens that I have just mentioned and the shared commitment that we continue to have in good faith that the Fiji government is evaluating our position on PESA Plus. As mentioned, we already have successfully negotiated and ratified the historic IPEF agreement and what it entails, and we already have Fiji and New Zealand as key partners in that economic relationship. Nonetheless, we will still be holding national consultations, which has started last week, with the industries and business community to explore the potential benefits of PESA Plus, ensuring that it aligns with Fiji's development goals and adequately addresses the necessary structural changes in the economy. I thought I'd also, at this point, just acknowledge the Australian government again in terms of its efforts on kava and allowing us to start moving kava into Australia. Enhancing kava exports to Australia does strengthen the economic relationship between the two countries. It provides a tangible example of how trade can benefit both nations in a win-win type of relationship by providing Australians with a unique product and supporting economic development in Fiji. In terms of trade and investment, Australia remains one of Fiji's largest trade and investment partners, with two-way goods and services trade totaling over 3.2 billion Australian in 2023. Australia is a major source of foreign investment for Fiji, valued at around 837 AUD last year, focused mainly on tourism, the financial sector and manufacturing, though we see immense potential for Australian companies to take advantage in the plethora of opportunities in some of the emerging sectors that I just mentioned before, such as commercial agriculture, renewable energy, and ICT, just to name a few. Australia is Fiji's second largest and most diverse export market, and Fiji continues to be one of its top destinations for tourism for Australians overseas. Of the 929,000 plus visitors that visited Fiji in 2023, Australians made up close to half, 47%, with a total of nearly 437,000 visitors. You might wonder why you need to invest in Fiji, or why should you invest in Fiji? Basically, the Fiji-Australia relationship goes beyond statistics and tourism numbers. We are connected by geography, culture, and have a shared vision in our prosperity in our region. Now, this evening is a perfect time for companies to deepen their engagement in Fiji, Australian companies, by not just being a trading partner, but also to be a prime destination for investment. As mentioned, we have a growing and resilient economy. Despite the global challenges, the People's Coalition government has embarked on a robust pathway to economic recovery and diversification. As we continue to implement reforms to create conducive business environments, including streamlined regulatory processes and tax incentives, and we also are focusing on improving infrastructure. Fiji's status as the hub of the Pacific, combined with our world-class hospitality, our young and dynamic workforce, makes it an ideal location or destination for doing business. Aussie companies have the opportunity to join a myriad of other global investors such as Google and Starlink, as mentioned earlier, in taking advantage of the opportunities our country has to offer. Investing in Fiji is more than tapping into a growing economy. It's becoming part of the Pacific's future. Fiji is positioning itself as the gateway to the broader Pacific region, offering investors a platform to expand operations, explore new markets, and contribute to the development of this dynamic region. Ladies and gentlemen, my message to you all this evening is that time is now to explore investment opportunities that Fiji has to offer. The resilient economy, its strategic location, supportive government, a government that actually protects and upholds true democracy, might I add, and a commitment to make Fiji an ideal destination and a sustainable partner for Australian companies makes it a very attractive proposition for Australian companies to grow, innovate, and succeed. Let us seize the moment together to deepen our economic relationship and partnership. Invest in a future where Australian and Fijian businesses thrive together and build a legacy of shared prosperity for generations to come. Nakavakalevu, may God bless Australia, may God bless Fiji, may God bless us all, and thank you for your attention. Naka.
Vinakavakalevu, Acting Prime Minister. As we go to a live cross this evening, it is my pleasure to introduce Senator the Honourable Tim Ayres. He couldn't be with us this evening, but he's kind enough to be available for us online. Tim Ayres is the Assistant Minister for Trade and Assistant Minister for a Future Made in Australia in the Albanese government, Labour government. He was elected as a Senator for New South Wales in the 2019 election. During the 46th Parliament, he was Chair of the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Public Administration and member of the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Joint Standing Committee. He led the work of several select inquiries, including a Senate report on the capability of the Australian Public Service. He was appointed as Assistant Minister for Trade and Assistant Minister for Manufacturing in June 2022, after the election of the Labour government led by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. In July 2024, his appointment changed to Assistant Minister for Trade and Assistant Minister for a Future Made in Australia. Before entering Parliament, Tim spent 24 years in the trade union movement, representing the interests of workers across a variety of sectors, including manufacturing, defence, food processing, aviation, and metal industries. He held several elected leadership roles in the Australian Manufacturing Workers Union. He has been a long-standing member of the Australian Labor Party's National Executive. Senator Ayres grew up on his family's beef cattle farm on the north coast of New South Wales and completed his high school in Glen Innes. He studied industrial relations at the University of Sydney and lives in Sydney. Please join me in welcoming the Honourable Tim Ayres.
Well, Nisambula, g'day from Australia. It is a real opportunity to speak at this event, a real honour to be with you this evening. I am also very sorry that I can't be there in person. Deputy Prime Minister, it would have been a fantastic opportunity to share that cup of kava that we have been promising each other for many, many months now. I want to acknowledge you, my friend, the Deputy Prime Minister. I understand Acting Prime Minister this week, Manoa Kamikamica, a good friend of mine and a good friend of Australia. It's It's very good to hear that you're there as acting Prime Minister. I urge you, of course, to use your power this week wisely. It was an excellent speech, a terrific speech, really, that outlines this government's determination to put Fiji on a pathway to economic prosperity and to economic development and opportunity. It was an outstanding speech, and I was encouraged by your comments on the strength of the trade and investment ties between Australia and Fiji. I wanted at the outset to thank you for your leadership for Fiji and the broader Pacific. Particularly my experience working side by side with you at the World Trade Organization as Australia and Fiji in lockstep with the rest of the Pacific and our friends in New Zealand work hard to combat illegal and unsustainable fishery subsidies and to protect the Blue Pacific's fishing reserves. Our economic relationship, strengthened under our renewed Vivale partnership, is one of equality. It's built on trust and mutual respect. Yes, on the economic and commercial relationship, but it's much deeper indeed than that. The story of Fiji's economic success is remarkable. And I'm proud to say that Australia is one of Fiji's largest trade and investment partners. In 2021, our two-way trade in goods and services stood at $812 million. But by 2023, this figure had grown to $3.2 billion, an incredible increase of nearly 294%. This, of course, has been underpinned by Australians' appetite for travel to Fiji, due not just to Fiji's proximity to Australia, competitive pricing, and greater flight connectivity. But the truth is, Australian families love Fiji. In 2023, Fiji welcomed nearly 930,000 visitors, surpassing pre-pandemic levels and even exceeding 2019 figures by 4%. Nearly half of those visitors were from Australia. And our economic collaboration extends across a wide array of sectors in Fiji, including agriculture, fisheries, business process outsourcing, and of course, tourism. In 2023, nearly 3,000 Australian businesses exported a total of $562 million worth of goods to Fiji. We're proud to support Pacific Trade Invest to increase Fijian exports back here to Australia. In 2023, Pacific Trade Invest facilitated $49 million worth of exports, an increase of $12 million on the previous year. And Deputy Prime Minister, as you referred to, one of those success stories is, of course, in Kava. And I look forward to, as I said, whether it's in Fiji with you or here in Australia, sharing a cup of Kava with you as soon as we can. Pacific Trade Invest supports a broad spectrum of enterprises, including root crop exporters like Ben's Trading. With over 200 staff, Ben's Trading sources root crops from across Fiji, positively impacting up to 100,000 Fijians and growing Fiji's export agriculture sector. We in Australia and in the Australian government want to continue to deepen those two-way trade and investment ties. That includes partnering with the Market Development Facility and the International Finance Corporation, collaborating to drive private sector investment in Fijian economic diversification, particularly tourism, high-value agriculture, and business process outsourcing. All of this work under our Vivale partnership, supporting Fiji's economic reforms through budget support and technical assistance in partnership with the Asian Development Bank. We're working to maximise trade access and market access for Fijian products. I'm very pleased to see Fiji's strong kava industry making the most of the current commercial importation arrangements. That's seen 123 tonnes of Fijian kava in Australia, making Fiji the second largest kava export, the second largest kava exporter. While we celebrate this growth, of course, we must also acknowledge that the global environment is getting tougher. The world is grappling with rising geopolitical tensions, conflict, and the looming possibility of a global recession. It's crucial that we continue to work together to build a shared economic future for this beautiful region that we share. Our strong ministerial engagement underscores our commitment to these goals. Earlier this month, our Treasurer Jim Chalmers and Foreign Minister Penny Wong attended the Pacific Islands Forum Economic and Foreign Ministers Dialogue. Economic resilience, climate change, and sustainable finance were just some of the issues that were discussed, and how Pacific partners will address challenges and harness new opportunities. As Foreign Minister Penny Wong said, the principle of the Vu Vale partnership and our work with you is that we seek to be responsive. As we speak, the Pacific Island Forum Leaders meeting is underway in Tonga, where regional leaders are discussing and deepening our approach to our shared priorities. Trade ministers will also participate in the upcoming Closer Economic Relations Trade Ministers meeting in Rotorua this September to further strengthen our trade ties. All of this is about deepening our two-way trade relationship and the web of economic and investment relationships across the region. Our ongoing engagement through the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, Deputy Prime Minister, that you referred to in your contributions, heralds a new path forward to address these challenges. Through IPEF, we can develop smart solutions on supply chain resilience, the clean energy transition, digital trade, and anti-corruption. I really welcome Fiji's participation and leadership in IPEF, and it shows the growth in Fiji's standing as an important player in the Indo-Pacific region. Australia's $25 million IPEF fund for technical assistance and economic cooperation will support Fiji to implement IPEF's ambitious standards, including on supply chain resilience, the transition to net zero, and combating corruption to boost foreign investment. I'm also delighted to hear about Fiji's renewed interest in PACER Plus. Engaging with PACER Plus will allow Fiji to play a greater leadership role in regional trade and economic integration. We stand ready to support Fiji's decision-making and evaluation process and the consultation process that you outlined. We're here to support Fiji's nation-building priorities through quality, sustainable and transformative infrastructure development as well. The Australian Infrastructure Financing Facility for the Pacific is a prime example of our investment in the region's future. The initiative is already making significant progress, particularly in transformative infrastructure development, which is crucial. As I said at the outset of my contribution, working shoulder to shoulder with Fiji in the World Trade Organization has been one of the contributions that Australia is most proud of in our work at the World Trade Organization in recent years. Our work together and including all of our friends across the Pacific and New Zealand as well has been making significant progress, and it's the steadfast leadership of Deputy Prime Minister Kamikamica that has galvanised members of the World Trade Organization to push hard for better reform on fishery subsidies and agriculture reform more broadly. These are just some of the areas of economic cooperation that characterise our deep and abiding relationship. I am, of course, deeply conscious that I'm giving you a long list of these achievements and this hard work while you are there in Suva waiting for your dinner. I really want to say that this relationship is so important, government to government, business to business, and people to people. This is a deep and abiding relationship that will go from strength to strength. I wish you the very best for this evening's dinner and for the dialogue and engagement that you will no doubt have over the coming days. And just repeat again, I'm very sorry I'm not there, but I'm sure I'll be there soon. Thank you very much.